Hello everyone, and welcome back to another RGB RPG's DM prep guide for Candlekeep Mysteries. As always, this is going to have quite a few spoilers in it, so if you are a player or plan on being a player in this game, please go ahead and click away. But if you'd like some insight into how another DM runs this game, stick around, check this out. So this is going to be for Session 3 of our Candlekeep Mysteries game, and as for the players, we're starting to get a better idea of who a few of these people are. It's going to be a little while before we can really start developing full story arcs around them, but that should be coming up soon. We can probably start planting the seeds for that as soon as next week's session. But for today, we are going to be introducing a brand new character to the game, so with Nathaniel Gunther coming in, we're still trying to get a good picture of who this group is as a whole. That is really starting to come together now, though. We're getting more and more information on these characters every week. But yeah, so this is going to be a unique session for us, because this is going to be our first session where we are really branching away from the book and doing one of the first things to kind of tie all of this together into one big story arc. And one of the big ways for us to do that is just from travel back to Candlekeep. This is where you can really let your DM muscles flex, your brain muscles flex, and come up with interesting ways for them to get back to Candlekeep, especially in these lower levels before they have access to more powerful transportation magic. Yeah, so there was hinted at a little bit about how they may be interested in getting onto a boat to get back to Candlekeep. So we've set up an entire thing around that, a pretty nautical-themed adventure for them to do that. But first, to start our session, we are still back in the Amber Dune hideout while the party discusses different ways to get ready. So to kind of prompt them to take that boat route, which they did mention that they wanted to anyways, I'd like to just drop an excuse to do that right in front of them. They're going to hear a rumor from one of Corvalla's returning pack members that the were-rats are stirring like crazy, and there's been rumors that they've set up ambushes all over the exits to Baldur's Gate, at the Basilisk Gate, and at Worm's Crossing. So the players are going to find out pretty quickly that leaving by the means that they got into town is going to be very dangerous. So that'll hopefully prod them to start talking about getting onto a ship, in which case Corvalla will tell them that the Low Lantern is an excellent place to try and book passage. There's always sailors in there trying to make a quick buck, so check out there. This is where we are going to meet with a new NPC, and of course with Nathaniel, who is a friend of that NPC. So yeah, we're going to meet at the Low Lantern. We're going to have a Tabaxi rogue introduced as a pirate named Pickles. And Pickles, the cat pirate, is in possession of a ship that he accidentally may have stolen from Candlekeep. I have a few ideas of how I'm going to get that in there. Pickles may have been a associate to the Great Library. They hire him to do certain things, and he had just finished a job for them, saw the boat, and decided, I could use that for something, and then just kind of took off with it without really thinking about the consequences. He feels terrible about it, having finished what he meant to finish with it, and yeah, means to return the boat to Candlekeep now that he is returning. Now that he is done with it, basically. So that kind of gives the characters a good reason to be like, hey, why don't we go with you, and when we get back to Candlekeep, you can kind of say that you helped us, and we can vouch for you for doing this. All the while, Nathaniel introduces his character and everything like that. So yeah, when we get to our nautical stretch of this whole adventure, I plan to have the first couple days peaceful. We were talking earlier during our session 0 about how everyone will be interested in doing some downtime, and again, a great way to pull this entire thing together is what happens between these adventures. So we're gonna use Xanathar's guide for downtime activities and things like that. I have a few lined up already, like fishing. You might come across like a bed of kelp or something like that. We're gonna let it develop however it comes across. But yeah, mainly downtime activities and fishing. I have some encounters that might happen if they roll certain ways while fishing. And then, of course, our big dramatic moment for this nautical travel is going to be a large storm that comes in. It should just be a fun little way for them to roll some dice and get some cool outcomes out of it, but if everything goes completely south and sideways, I do have a little bit of a side encounter set up for if their ship crashes. So yeah, if they do crash, I have an encounter with a few harpies set up. I'll show you some of those maps. We've got Baldur's Gate here, and then this is that harpy encounter we got right here. We've got 3 regular harpies and then a bunch of blood toll harpies. They're from MTG setting, the Mythic Odysseys of Theros. But they work perfectly fine here. They're basically just harpy light. And yeah, so that's what happens if they do fail that storm check by any large amount. But between that, I actually got a little bit ahead of myself here. We do have another encounter set up on the docks. When they are on their way from the Low Lantern to Pickle's boat, the were-rats have gotten word that their target is trying to evade them. So they send out the word that anyone who aids in stopping these people who have wronged the were-rat gang in the area, they will in turn be turned into a were-rat, which is a prized thing among the more desperate of Baldur's Gate. It does provide quite a bit of power and community to some, especially those that don't have any, so it is kind of tempting to them. So yeah, a bunch of thugs ambush them on the docks while they are trying to get aboard Pickle's ship. Fun little combat encounter if it seems like that's something that they want to get into. Again, we always read the room. It doesn't seem like they may consider skipping this part. There are other good opportunities for ending up on a battle map later on. Speaking of which, one of the outcomes of their fishing trip could be one of these, or one of these, popping up onto their little boat and causing all kinds of havoc. So, yeah, that's all the maps. We have the dock map, we have the ship map, and we have the coast map. All of these will be available on Patreon, just so you know. Yeah, it's unexpected that they'll make it all the way back to Candlekeep this session, but if they do, I have a few things set up for them there. The whole interaction with Pickles, they're going to be grateful for the boat back, the Avowed, and all that. It's not going to be too much of an issue. I'll let that play out pretty satisfactorily for Pickles being a positive NPC when he departs Candlekeep. But yeah, when they arrive, they're going to get their 50 gold piece reward, their kind of payment for having solved the issue with the Amber Dunes. They'll likely discuss the Amber Dune issue with them, and the higher-ups of Candlekeep will be more than happy to accommodate the Amber Dunes, allowing the party that new ally. Aside from that, they also get a Helm of Telepathy, a few other things, especially among which is their new study. So, a couple of the players in this game have played the first session of Candlekeep, the Joy of Extra Dimensional Spaces, and that highlights this mansion here. Now, I'm going to have the Avowed of Candlekeep gift this mansion to them. We'll say that Pistondia sent word back that, she heard that somebody had gotten in there and discovered all the mysteries, and that the party is welcome to it until she returns at some indeterminate time in the future, if at all. So yeah, they'll get this place. They can each call rooms, do whatever they want to, and the really cool thing about this is that this is a map that I actually made with Incarnate, so I can go in and change things up as they want to. So if they want to redecorate it, if they want little knickknacks and things, we can talk about doing things like that. And of course, they do have their private study, which attaches to that. And again, any maps you guys see here are available in the Patreon. It'll be linked below if you're not already coming from there. So, they'll get all of that. And then, if by some miracle, I really don't expect this to go with much farther than this, but if they do manage to spend the night in their new place and come back out, that is when they will discover a raven on their windowsill on top of the boat. Looks like it may have carried this boat all the way here, and which is going to lead us into the next adventure, the Book of the Raven. We have our outlines for different NPCs. We have Jar of Pickles, and this is an NPC that I am toying around a bit with. I want to give the characters not a villain just yet, but somebody to be suspicious of in Candlekeep. I want to start leading them away from the actual missions a little bit for now, to start diving into their own research so that they can come up with so they can encounter obstacles in Candlekeep that aren't necessarily written in the adventures. Gravis is how I'm going to do that. I have him modeled a lot after Professor Quirrell from Harry Potter. He's very quiet, very soft-spoken, scared most of the time, but fiercely loyal to his superiors. We're not going to go too far into who those superiors might be yet. I don't even really know yet. We're going to see how that plays out and see how they interact with them. But yeah, he's kind of jealous of the group. He doesn't really understand or approve of how they're getting all these gifts when they're not even scholars. All they're doing is going out and swinging swords, is according to Kravis, and he's not too happy. But he does answer to London Flattergast, who is another NPC they're going to hear about today. He is my big Dumbledore-esque style character for Candlekeep. He's one of the great readers in charge of a few areas of interest that the party is actually interested in. So they're going to catch his attention more and more as things go on. But for right now, all they're going to have is that Sprig says, "Oh, Professor Flattergast has become interested in what you all," and something along those lines, so that they can hear the name and understand that this is some higher up that even Kravis has to answer to. Some of our other NPCs down here, minor NPCs, because they're not going to come up for a while. No new notable locations for this session. Nothing too extra added to that. Possibly a beach scene, a yarn ball. They're gonna have the map for it, so not too much description there. What are we gonna be doing today? Not the Jaguars anymore. We have giant squids, sharks on there. We have the thugs, bandits. I think that's just about it. Of course, they get the Helm of Telepathy today. And as far as the campaign map goes, this is still very much in development. You saw that I started a little bit of a thought process there. What I'm thinking is that as the players go out into the library looking for some of the more obscure, some of the more rare, valuable books that may help them in their own research, they're going to find that some of the intensely valuable ones are missing. Some of the very powerful ones. And they're not going to come across this exact hook until maybe level 5 or 6. But that's when they'll begin to get access to the restricted sections of the Great Library, and there they'll find some of the things that they're looking for missing, and that hopefully will draw them into the deeper plot lines and help those develop. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Session 3 of Candlekeep. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and see you next time to see if this is actually how it went.